Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you as always for tuning back in. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Layla, the Lenormand reader, and I am one of the few people who specializes in Lenormand, and I offer many resources including the master program for the Lenormand deck. So be sure to have a look at the links that I have in the description box for you, and if you're interested in private readings, I offer these as well. So welcome to this new pick-a-card reading. As you can see, I have 3 charms, so we're going to do 3 different readings, and I will be using 3 decks for each of the readings. The topic for today's pick-a-card is money and prosperity, as well as work or your source of income. We haven't done a reading like this in a while. It's more practical orientated. So let's focus a little bit into our work, money, and our career and see what is ahead for us, what gifts are ahead for us, or possibly challenges, and what is some advice that we can take away from the amazing Lenormand deck. So as always, feel free to pause the video to tune into the charm that you want to resonate with for this reading. And as always, you will find the timestamps in the description box. So I'll see you in your reading. Okay, let us start with the key group. I am going to start with the first deck, and I'll be doing a portrait. So the way we're going to read these is we can read them in layers, the different portraits, or the 3 portraits that we're going to overlay on top of each other. They could be giving us different angles about what's going on in our work and money area of life, and then we can put the whole thing together depending on how the cards are guiding us to do this. So starting with the Game of Hope deck. Okay, these are some really amazing cards to see in the context of work and money. The first diagonal really jumps out. The ring is the card of relationships. The book is about the unknown, but when it comes with the ring, it is about a proposal. And with the letter, I really think this can be a contract. So this can be a new job or a new venture or a new project that comes your way. On top of that, we have the Child in the cards, so it is all the more reason to think that you're in for something new in your work and your career. We have the Clouds, Book, and Road. When we see the clouds and book together, this is more about the challenging aspects of the book and the clouds, of course, which points to this idea of not knowing certain facts. So some ideas, some aspects, some information and details need to come to light. And when we see the road on the other side of the book here, you're going to need to pursue maybe some conversations. Maybe you're going to need to dig into a bit of research and information here in order to make this new beginning smooth. So at first, you could be intimidated. Maybe you're not sure what is involved here. So you need to do a bit of research. And this can also mean that you prepare yourself. So maybe you need to upscale or to get a good foundation in the area that this project is about so that you can pursue it. And we see with the road that you will. The ring, heart, and road is lovely. In relationships, this would be a really supportive combination of a love relationship that unfolds, that opens up. I can't dismiss the possibility that relationships figure into the picture for you, but because this is more about your work and your career and your prosperity, I think this is more about pursuing something you love and really giving yourself a chance to do that. With the Child, Book, and Tower, this can mean some new level of expertise that you are getting into. The book and Tower normally points to university education, expertise, someone who is specialized. And with the Child, you could be moving into this new level of, where you're becoming more experienced and more specialized. And this really works well with what we saw in the second diagonal, where we suggested that you might want to go deeper into some knowledge, maybe cover off some of your gaps, and this will really put you on a stronger foundation. The Clouds, Ship, and Letter is another indication that tells me that the path ahead is not entirely clear. We see it with the road, we see it with the ship, and there are similarities between the road and ship. They point to the path ahead, the direction ahead. And with the clouds, things can be unclear. And this is where there could be a few speed bumps ahead for you. But with the letter, again, being the card of communication, it's important that you reach out, that you find out, get into the details. Definitely read the small print and ask all the questions that you need to clarify all of these aspects. But otherwise, it is looking really exciting. When we look at the ring, child, and clouds, again, a new beginning is highlighted, a new involvement, a new relationship, a new contract, a new job. Depending on how you work, you could be in for this new beginning here. And again, the clouds is the only challenging card of your portrait. It muddies things a little bit, but it does ask you to clarify what is ahead. So I would say, try to foresee a little bit what is ahead. And, the book is right in the middle. So it's all about knowledge and empowering yourself with knowledge. The heart bookendship is lovely. I think you're going to find that this is rewarding. And again, it's important to pursue the things that you're passionate about. Sometimes the ship can bring in travel, well, not sometimes, often enough, and we also have the road. So there are 2 travel cards in your portrait. I can't, dismiss the possibility that it can involve some traveling, and that can be really exciting. But otherwise, the ship is very much about your direction and your projects, and it's also really good for tangible rewards. The road, tower, and letter, I think this is really about the path ahead, and this could be something for the longer term. Often the tower points to the past. I can't also dismiss that maybe something that you'd been working on for a while finally materializes. Maybe because of the book in the middle, it was out of reach, or it was on hold, or you didn't hear about it for a while, and now it comes into the picture. But the tower is also good for the long term. And, we see this T crossing the central row, and the idea that you're going to become more specialized and more expert. So I do think that you're in for a wonderful new opportunity that's going to put you on a path to greater expertise. So this is very supportive. There are some details that are sort of unclear. It could muddy the picture a little bit. Maybe at first, not everything is transparent to you, but do the work, get into the details, read the fine print, and I think you'll find that you want to engage in this. It's also important that you make it a point to pursue things that you love so that you can actually stick with them over the long term. So a contract, a proposal, a new offer is coming your way. Now from these cards, we don't really see a financial element just yet. It is pointing more to your knowledge and your expertise, and that could pave the way for prosperity down the line. So let's deal your second portrait and see what else is in store for you, money-wise, work-wise, career-wise, in this exciting part of life. The letter again, and the heart again. Fox is the card of work. Snake is tricky. The road again, this time in the center. Key, excellent card, nice. And the coffin, here we go, the ending. So I appreciate the coffin here because it does confirm that you are in transition. So the child in the first portrait, the coffin in the second portrait. When we have the child and coffin together, the idea of an ending and a new beginning is strengthened because they're so logical together. Now the letter, road, and coffin points to the end of the road. And I'm immediately attracted to the central column. The snake, road, and key points to turning away from a certain path. And with the key, it is definitely a good idea to do this. Now, the way I'm seeing it is that because you have a new opportunity that comes through, you sign a new contract, you get involved in a new project like we saw in the first diagonal of your first portrait, this means that you can end your current involvement. And we see this through the first diagonal and the second column. So the letter here can refer to some kind of resignation, or perhaps, you make an announcement that you are going to leave. The fox and road can be looked at a bit like the snake and road. They have a lot in common, the fox and the snake. But the thing about the fox is that it is the card of jobs and employment. And so in the context of work, the fox is a little bit different from the snake. The fox road and tree suggests a job that you're going to go for and that you're going to stick with for a while. The tree, a bit like the tower, is slow. It unfolds over time. So this can be a path of growth that you're going to probably commit to over a longer term. And it is also a supportive path because it helps you grow and deepen your roots and make you more solid and stronger. The letter snake and tree is a tricky combination because I think what's happening here is that your exit from the current state is a bit tricky. It looks like you need to time it well. The snake is a quiet card. It's the card of silence. So that is a bit in contrast with the letter. And the tree here adds to the wisdom of the snake and this idea of patience. So you're going to make an announcement to leave, and you are going to transition away into this new contract, this new opportunity, but you need to time it. And maybe you can't just, chop things off and move on. It sounds like maybe you're a bit more involved where you are right now, and you need to sort of maneuver your exit a little bit. So be calm and wait for the right time and maneuver your way out of this. The heart, road, and dog is lovely for new friendships, new colleagues, possibly new customers. And I think you'll also find that you could attract people who support your interests and who appreciate your interests, so they're on the same page with it. And it is also a good opportunity to meet people as you make these changes. But also, if this is about the current context, I think some people will miss you, and I think we see this in this column here. The fox key and coffin is another confirmation that it is a good idea to end the current involvement. So a bit like the second diagonal, the first diagonal, and the second column, we have the bottom row where the key and coffin points to closing off the job that you are currently in. And when we see this here, the tree, dog, and coffin, I think, you could leave people behind. They're probably going to miss you. And, but, I still think they support you and they understand that you want to grow in a different direction now. The letter, heart, and fox is great for basically what we saw in the first portrait, that you get an offer of work, and this is probably something you love. Now, in relationships, the heart and fox can be a bit tricky. It can suggest someone who is half-hearted, not really means it, but I think in the context of your work and in view of the previous cards, it makes more sense to stick with the fox as representing a job. So again, you're in for a new job, and at some point you're going to have to announce that you're going to take it up, and you're going to make some kind of resignation or a parting with the current situation. And the key here is really to time the transition. So the road is in the center here. This is about the change part. Once you get the offer, which is a nice progression through the portrait so far. And so it's not an abrupt change. You want to, time it well and find the right time to move away from the current situation. Other people are supportive and they could miss you. So, being considerate about the needs of the current environment versus your needs and timing it well. And also you might hold on to what's happening until it's right to make the announcement. So this portrait, we're really looking at the transition from your current situation into how you're going to turn away into the new opportunity. Okay, let's move on to the third portrait. So we've done the Game of Hope portrait and the Titania's Fortune cards, and now we're using my own deck, the Silhouettes deck, to draw the third portrait. Let's see what else is in store for you in this area. Lovely clover. Oh, here's the money card. Okay, interesting cards. I'm really happy to see the fish coming up. The fish is the card of money, and so it is a good thing to see it. in one of your portraits because we want a confirmation of sorts that this opportunity that you're moving into has a good financial element. And it does, because there are two very powerfully supportive cards next to it, which is also a nice message. I would think that if the fish were in multiple portraits and if it were surrounded by positive cards, it would be a very strong element. But we still have a decent influence, a decent financial presence or prosperity presence in your cards. Very powerful cards next to the fish. We have the fox, which is the card of work. Again, we're seeing it. And we're seeing the road again. So did the road figure 3 times? Once in each of the portraits. We have it here. We have it here. Yes, 3 times. So the road, it figures 3 times. So it's pretty powerful in terms of its influence. Figures in each of your portraits. So the idea of change and movement is very much ahead for you when it comes to your money and your career. The powerful whip comes through, so obviously this is going to be the combination of endings. And we have the man in the middle here, so I suspect that this could be the person from whom you are going to part, or possibly the person whom you end up working with in the new circumstance, and it can be both. Does not have to be mutually exclusive. I love reading the 3 levels together, so I'm already peeking at them. But let's go ahead and read the 3rd portrait. So, clover, man, and whip. It sounds like when you move, when you make the change, someone's going to be pretty upset. We saw this in the previous portrait as well. We had a sense that people will miss you from where you are, and here it sounds like there's one specific person who's going to be, especially upset or maybe shocked. But the clover as your cover card is a protective card. So I think, well, first you're not going to have an option at some point, but also the clover asks you not to worry about, well, this consequence. I think there is going to also be understanding. The anchor, man, and bear is a powerful person here. This is someone very supportive and strong. And it could be the same person as what we see in the first diagonal, or it could be someone else. So even if this is someone who's upset that you're leaving, they still support you in your change and your growth. And if this is about who you end up working with, then you are going to be working with someone pretty powerful and also who supports your work. So either way, this is a supportive influence on this situation of yours. Strong, supportive person here. The clover, fox, and bear, I like this. Again, a confirmation that you're in for a big job here, and it's going to be good for you. It's going to help you grow. We saw the growth element in each of the portraits, actually, using different cards, but still the same theme. So we have the tower in the first portrait with the game of hope. We have the tree in the titania one, and the bear with my deck. So a big job. I think this can point to a promotion, more responsibility. The fish, man, and road. This is really good for money. This can be a customer or the person who pays you, and it can also refer to this wealthy individual, like we saw in the second diagonal, who is supportive of your path ahead. I think this is more, it's more probably the person who helps you make more money with this new opportunity. The road at the end is sort of a little bit open-ended. You will have yet to discover what kind of relationship you have with this person. But, when I T-cross it with here, it can be a bit of a bumpy road ahead. The bear, road, and whip can be a challenging combination, and the whip and bear can sometimes refer to competition. So maybe there is another factor that comes into the picture that maybe asks you to be prepared for, some challenges, meeting the expectations, dealing with competition. But again, the clover is really important to see on your first card. So just putting it out there, be prepared for possible challenges that you're going to have to overcome as you take on this new opportunity. It doesn't mean you shouldn't take it on. It just means that that is what is ahead and that you're up for it. The Anchor, Tower, and Whip. Now this is interesting. I think that with the Whip on the other side of the Tower, I think you're going to have to be prepared to do things a little bit differently. The Anchor and Tower can refer to a long phase, and they're also, I feel here they're a bit stuck in their ways. You know, the Anchor can be a bit stubborn, and the Tower is about the long term and points to the past. So it's like how you've done things for a while or in the past. And with the Whip here, there's a strong shaking up activity that happens, and I think you have to prepare to do things a little bit differently moving forward. The Tower can also refer to management, and it does a knight to the bear, and we have the man in the middle in the second diagonal. So it's possible that, you know, this is the consequences of leaving, and that you have to part with your current management. But I also think that down the line, you could disagree with how things are done, you know, or in the new job, I mean, and that could, you know, cause a bit of a bumpy situation. So there are a few challenges down the line. They could be in different ways. There are different possibilities for this, but I still really like your Clover as your first card. It protects you from this turbulence, and it really doesn't mean that you shouldn't take it on. It does point to growth and promotion, and so, you know, you could be tested out for your strength when you first set out. So exciting cards, challenges ahead, you know, to test out your new capabilities, but also I think pretty rewarding. So let's read the 3 layers, my favorite part, I think. Oh, here we go. So ring and letter is a contract with the Clover. It is a very good opportunity that comes your way. So this is very clear that you're in for a contract, you're in for a proposal. The next set, heart, snake and fox. Yeah, so this is someone who is, you know, who doesn't have your best interest at heart. With each of the fox and heart, like I was saying here, we have this twice. Oh yeah, we had it with the heart and fox, you know, someone who is half-hearted. Well, we have a similar energy here. You know, this can be someone who tries to sabotage you, I have to say. Maybe this is someone who doesn't want you to leave, who doesn't want you to have the opportunity. They could be, you know, in the third portrait trying to prevent you from achieving your success. So be vigilant about that. But again, I really like the Clover as your first card because it's very protective. Road, tree, and bear. This is lovely, and this is clearly about a path of growth. Promotion, more responsibilities, evolution. This is what is happening next for you. So be prepared, you know, to learn more, to do more, to be more. It's exciting. Yes, lovely. Child, heart, and fish. Very good for money. A new opportunity with a strong financial element. There's no two ways around this. Very clear message, thanks to Lenormand. This is a curious one. Book, road, man. So the book being a card of mysteries and the unknown, it can mean that there are some people that you meet down the line. And I suspect that you could meet a tough character, like we saw in the Silhouette's third portrait. Interestingly enough, these are central cards. These 3 are the central cards of the portrait. So there's lots of, you know, good things happening in response to the question, but really these are different from the question. So you could meet someone, interesting character down the line, and that I think will add a lot of, shall we say, spice to the adventure ahead. But this is a bit of a mystery triplet. You know, I can't really go beyond the idea that you're going to meet someone. I think this is someone who could be a tough character, but we also saw some really supportive cards. Let's continue. The Tower, dog, and road. Again, I'm seeing that you're moving on from a junior situation into more responsibilities, and I hope you are preparing for this. The Tower is the opposite of the dog. The bear is the opposite of the dog. The dog is junior, the bear is senior, the Tower is expertise. So we saw this a few times already, that you need to move on from your current level and be ready to grow. So this can test out your the initial phase. It's like you're being initiated into more responsibilities and a more expert level in your work. The clouds, fox, and anchor. So this is where I feel there could be a bit of competition, some naysayers, but also challenges on the job with your tasks and getting to know things, But the anchor really encourages you to stick with it. This is a learning phase at the outset, so don't lose faith or, don't be overwhelmed by the details. Just, you try to be in control and also give yourself time and patience. This is part of the learning process. Ship, key, and tower is beautiful. This points to long-term achievement, achieving long-term goals, and success in every way, I would say. Very good for growth. The tower is, again, like we saw a few times, about being more expert. And with the ship and key, it's very clear that you are going to achieve this. So you could actually reach for the top and get there. Finally, the letter, coffin, and whip. Here we go. Here's your announcement of the ending. So you do have to announce that you're leaving or you're making this change. And I have to say, with the whip, it can land a bit aggressively on others. And you could have naysayers, you could have resistance, but I think this is going to be part of the process. So prepare for this aspect or this part of it to be a bit bumpy. But otherwise, very clear message that you're in for a new proposal, a new offer, a new contract with a strong financial element, and that this opportunity is going to put you on a path of some kind of promotion or in the idea of growing and becoming more specialized. This can cause you a bit of challenges. Maybe at first, as you move into this, you're a bit challenged and it's a bit bumpy. And there can be some characters that try to really compromise you, but I think you're going to overcome this rather well. And you also want to keep the vision for the long term. It's not just what's happening now. So some very exciting cards for you on the work and money front. I'm really looking forward to your thoughts and comments. Where are you looking for something new? Because if you were, you should get some positive feedback and be ready for a change. So leave me your thoughts and comments. As always, I like to read them. Thank you so much for tuning into this reading. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that more people are exposed to this very unique way of doing cards. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching and take very good care of yourself. Okay, here we are with the Lock group reading, and we're starting with the Game of Hope cards. I am doing a portrait, so we're going to do one with the Game of Hope and then overlay a couple of other portraits with the two other decks. So let's go ahead and see for the Lock group what is ahead for you with your career, your money, your prosperity. Okay, Lock group, these are some powerful cards. The fish right in the center stands out to me. The fish is the card of money and prosperity precisely, and we see it in your first portrait in the center. Now we have a couple of challenging cards. We have the whip and the clouds, and we have the scythe as your cover card. And I feel that this can be a breakthrough. We also have the key next to the scythe, which brings this out. We have the child, which points to a new beginning. So I think you could be looking at breaking through and breaking out of a certain situation, Lock group, that brings you freedom and the ability to turn the page into a new beginning. I'm not really seeing a new offer or a new proposal like I've seen in some readings, but there is definitely a new beginning that is in store for you. I think there are some issues on the home front or within your team or within your current work. There can be some challenges with people, or it's just stressful in general. And maybe the money hasn't been good, but I think what you are in for is a breakthrough when it comes to money. Now, how it comes through a new opportunity, but I can't tell just yet from these cards, from this portrait, whether this means that you're leaving the current job or something else happens where you're able to turn the page on the present financial situation into a much brighter one. So the fish and sun here are a very bright combination for financial prosperity. So definitely abundance, more income, and opportunity in this regard is coming through. With the scythe here, it really is a breakthrough into this opportunity. And I would say also, lock group, that maybe if you have prosperity issues, like from a spiritual level, like you're not really receiving or open to receive your good, this can also be a powerful change that opens up your consciousness for more money to come in. So this can be a really beautiful message. We have the cross, fish, and house. Again, this is really good for money. The fish and house often represents property and real estate investments. So maybe this is something that you're doing or you're getting into in order to enhance your money, your income. And with the cross, this can be a big decision. But it can also be about your job, your work, or possibly your business. And it can mean that you are making some decisions about your present situation that will impact your financial prosperity. You know, with the fish in the middle here, the idea of starting a business or being in business for yourself is very much highlighted. Unlike the fox, the fish is about entrepreneurship and being independent. And when we see the scythe at the top and then the whip and house and clouds, I really have to wonder, lock group, if it might not be time to start your side business or your business so that you create more financial independence for yourself. This is a very strong prospect as well. The scythe, whip, and house is probably, well, it is the most challenging combination here. It can be a fallout with a group or a certain team. And we do have the house, clouds, and sun here. So this can go in a couple of different ways. Maybe you clarify the issues. So something boils over and it comes through and there's an argument or a disagreement. But here you're able to resolve the differences. Or it is that you decide to actually move away and do your own thing. And again, with the fish, it is strongly highlighted. You might want to consider doing something for yourself. The key, fish and clouds, is good with money. The key is all around solutions and success, and it's about being clever. But often the clouds and fish, they represent the idea of expenses. So with the key here, you want to get a good handle on your money. So it's not just about what's incoming, it's also about what's outgoing. So make sure you know where your money is going, what you're spending on. If you have unnecessary expenses, it's a good time to take control and cut them out. Okay, you have the scythe being sharp with decisions here. Cut out unnecessary expenses. The cross, child, and sun is very powerful for a new beginning, a new prosperous beginning. This can be an important decision, but it is also meant to be. So at this point, it's important that you move into a new consciousness, a new state, a new situation where you can attract more money for yourself. And again, I have to say that your own business, even if it's part-time, is very much encouraged. This is certainly something I support because having my Lenormand business completely changed my life. And I really wish it on other people as well. The scythe, key, and cross. Now that is a powerful message. The key and cross are both spiritual cards. They're about signs and life matters, your destiny. And with the scythe here, I feel that you're going to get insight into what is meant to happen for you. You're going to get a good sign, a strong sign, an empowering sign that you are meant to, you're meant to do something that is going to empower you financially, and you're also going to get inspiration to make changes. So powerful message here. The whip, fish, and child. Yes, I really think that you've been struggling financially or you've been blocked with your financial goals, but with the child, it's really time to turn this around. When the fish brings into the picture your money as opposed to your work. So you need to straighten up the financial picture as a whole. You need to remove the unnecessary expenses. You need to be in control of these. You need to be more enterprising and find ways to make more money. You're ready for a change when it comes to your money. The house, clouds, and sun, like we said, can point to resolving differences or issues that came up, whether this is on the home front in your personal life or this represents the job. When I see the cross, fish, and house, and I know we read this, I really feel that this could be a good sign for starting your home-based business. I don't think it's ever too late or too early to do this, and I certainly encourage it for you, especially since you've been struggling, or things at work or whichever way you operate to make money, they've caused you a bit of heartache and a bit of challenges. So at this point, you're seeing some bright signs and some powerful signs of inspiration to help you turn this picture around. So very much the focus is on finances, strong potential to make more money, but it does involve a powerful turnaround. So let's move on to the second portrait and see what else comes into the picture with regards to your money, work, and career. Okay. Another key. Here was the first key, the garden. New beginning, 2 children, 2 child cards on top of each other. So this is going to really emphasize the new beginning that is at hand. And the stork on top of the house. This is a move and a change. Okay, all right. These are nice cards. I really like the tree and key together. They suggest achieving a very important goal. And with the stork, that is what is ahead for you. So the tree is interesting. Yeah, I really look forward to reading the 3 layers. It's so exciting. The tree typically is about calm and staying put, and also spending time on your own. I think with the garden and fox, a number of things can come through. So for a while, you're going to stick with your job. I like this message, and I'll tell you in a bit. But also, it is about getting a good hang on certain people, certain environments. The fox can represent people who are self-interested, selfish, tricky, annoying. You have to deal with them diplomatically, and that is fine. Now, here's what I'm picking up, and I know this so well because I've been through it. When there is, when you are facing a deeper redirection in your life, the stuff that goes on around you becomes a bit like noise, and somehow it falls into the background a little bit. So it's like background noise because you are more focused on what your life is about. And the tree really gives you a sense of centeredness and a very strong sense of perspective about what you're meant to be doing. And remember these 2 cards in your first portrait. So what's going to happen is that you need to quiet yourself a little bit, even if there's noise around you on the job, the issues here, the problems here. It's really important that you take your power back from this environment so that you can center yourself, because you are going through an important redirection. A more day-to-day way to read this diagonal is that, as you're making these changes, if that is about starting your own business, you're going to stick with your job for a while. And actually, I find that it's really smart to do this because the job can give you a stability as you're building your business. So it's important that you be the eye of the storm, that you find yourself, you find your ground. And what happens is that things start to change. Your perspective on the relative importance of things in your life start to change when you really focus on creating your own business, making your own source of income. The road, garden, and stork very much points to a change. It's very clear that you're going to move into something else. We have this here. We have the key, garden, and child. You're going to break into a new environment. This can be the market you serve. It can be a new job or your business. So very exciting cards that are ahead. The tree, key, and stork is lovely because it means you're going to achieve a very important goal. And I think we can tie this into the finances, but also the job. And the dog, garden, and letter points to an offer. It can also point to customers. It can also suggest that you are reaching out and marketing and doing all of this nice stuff. So the garden in the center here is very much about community and your society and your market. And so this is definitely a good time to reach out, to make contacts, to get in touch, to mix and mingle. Networking is going to be really key. It's going to help you achieve your goals. Definitely the road, child, and fox is clearly a new beginning that is at hand. A new path is ahead, and with the fox, it can mean a new job altogether. So I'm suggesting that it might be a business that you're doing for yourself, but it doesn't have to be, of course. There are a few scenarios. But we have a confirmation of the two childs on top of each other, and the changes that we are seeing here. But they're all positive changes. I mean, notice that the fox is a little bit tricky, but when it comes to work, it's mostly about work. All the other cards are really bright. There is good news. There is positive change. There's achievement. The tree, dog, and road is, I think, a path of evolution. I think it's a slower path. And again, it really ties into the tree. Like I was suggesting, you want to center yourself, and something is growing inside of you. You're evolving in a certain way. And so you want to take the steps with that. Even though really the scythe is pretty sharp. Again, I love to read the three portraits on top of each other. This line is also good for relationships. See where they lead you. Again, getting to know people and networking is key. The key guardian and child is breaking into a new environment, like we said. This can be your market or the job. And also it has to do with making new connections. And the stork, letter, and fox, I really think has to do with a contract or a job offer that really kicks things off and enables you to kick into this new beginning. So it can be that you find a way to kick off your business, or you have a new job, and all of this supports you with your money and your career. So I think this is a really exciting portrait, what we're seeing on this level. Okay, let's move on to the third portrait here using my Silhouettes deck and see what more messages we get for your work, your prosperity. So far, it's looking pretty exciting. Okay, some really exciting cards here. Obviously, the beautiful clover in the center should stand out as a very bright message. And we have this man who pops up here as your first card. And, you know, there is the scythe as the first one and also the scythe on the first diagonal. I am seeing this as leaving this man. So he could be someone in your present job. He could be the boss where you are. He could be someone you were connected with for some time. And we see the whip here on the other side of the tower, which is about the long term and the past. And we have the scythe on the other side of the clover, and we have the snake and here. So really the corner cards are very telling in this portrait. We have the man and scythe and the whip and snake. So it's clear to me that you are moving on from this man, from this person, and with the clover right in the middle here, it is very much the right thing to do. So again, there is this new beginning that comes through for you, and it looks like you're gonna take it on, and this means that you move on from this person. We also have a standout combination here with the snake, heart, and scythe. This can be pretty difficult, honestly. It might be on him and on you. It might not be an easy transition, but it's clear that you are meant to make a change at this point and move away from this person. I do think this is someone who's connected with your current work or your current work situation, but you know, it can be someone else as well who might be part of the older picture that you're moving on from. Maybe someone who's put some limitations on your growth and evolution. It's possible that there are other ways to read this man, but in general, you are moving away from him, and it is a very good idea to do so. We have the message here, man, garden, and snake. So moving on from this person, I would say even possibly avoiding him. The garden is typically about meetings, but with the snake, it's either that, it's not a good idea to pursue the relationship or meet with him, and also you want to be careful for possible traps or sabotage that could come your way as you pursue your good. The tower, clover, and heart is lovely. I think here we are looking at a new lease of life for you. Really, a new path is opening up for you, and it feels really wonderful, really pursuing what you want. But when it comes to T-crossing this line, and we read the Tower as referring to the past, I feel that you are feeling whole, you're feeling complete, and you know that it's time to let go. The Whip, Fish, and Scythe. So we saw these here. We saw the scythe with the fish already, so again, I feel there is a consciousness thing happening for you where you need to break out of certain limitations that prevent prosperity from coming in. But also when it comes to waste and spending, it is definitely a good time to take control and to redress these issues. So definitely remove unnecessary expenses, no uncertainties, no unknowns with your money, really coming into control. And we read this column, the garden, clover, and fish is great for work, for business. We saw the garden in the center in the previous portrait. So again, we're seeing this idea of the marketplace and, reaching out and networking. Definitely a good idea. And we saw this powerful column of change and disappointment that could come as you transition away. But really with the clover in the center, it is a very powerful message that you need to make this change happen, that this can disappoint someone, or perhaps as you move into this change, there can be challenges or people who try to sabotage you. But with the clover in the center, I really think you are well protected from this. So these are looking very exciting for your finances. We saw the fish twice in the portraits, and so it can highlight the importance of your money more than your work. And I feel that this can refer to work and business. Also because we had the garden twice, which is associated with the marketplace and the network. So this is really important for business. So let's read the triplets now. This is my favorite part. The scythe, tree, and man. So, the scythe and tree is a combination of uprooting yourself. And with the man here, it is a pretty sharp separation from someone. The whip, key, and garden. So it's nice to see the key on the other side of the whip, because the whip is pretty challenging. And this tells us that you are going to find solutions to these issues that you've been experiencing. And I think they're mainly financial. But again, the garden on the other side of the key suggests that you want to go out into the market and maybe network more. If you're selling something, you want to sell it better. Reaching out is going to help you with people and ideas. So the stork and house is actually the combination of house moves, and the snake certainly points to it turning away. So this is a clear combination that you are leaving and moving away from a certain context here. The key, dog, and tower is helpful. You could meet someone who helps you with knowledge or information. You might want to consult certain people for the changes that you're considering or that you're looking at. Pursuing your business, it is important to build connections for the long term. These can refer to your customers. And when it comes to work, I think you are also in for a phase of growth where the dog is ready to move up to the levels of the tower. And the key, really empowering here. So again, this idea of growth coming through. This is lovely. It's nice to see them in the center as well. The fish and garden and clover, this is very much about prosperity. And yes, I do think this is very much about business, selling, getting out there, networking, and marketing. And you're going to see that it is going to return rewards. So very empowering for your own sense of enterprise. The clouds, letter, and heart, this can be news, obviously it is, but the clouds can cause a bit of cloudiness around this, and the heart, with the clouds would point to some disappointments or a bit of a heartache here, some doubts. So this can, I feel, align with the idea that you decide to move on to something else, and this can cause a bit of a surprise around you. But at some point you have to make the case and you have to move on. These are strong for moving on. The cross and the road is crossroads, and the whip is challenging. aspect here. So you're going to have to face up to some challenges as you transition or as you explore your own business, or enterprising capabilities. And also there are some choices that you're making here. I think these work well with, we were saying that you want to stop any kind of waste. So here you might have to make choices about what you spend on, what you don't spend on, as part of redressing your financial picture and taking control of your money. The child and fish. So this is actually a really beautiful message. We have a double child. It's hard not to see this as a new beginning that is coming in for you, and it is very positive for your finances. So really, I want to encourage you to do the work of making the changes, networking, starting your own thing, or finding a new opportunity or some kind of work, or even if it's additional work. When you put in this effort, it is going to come back with reward, and you are going to land on something that is going to provide you with more income. And finally, we have the Sun, Fox, and Scythe. Again, I feel it's hard not to read this as a change, possibly a change of a job, because of the Scythe and Fox. And the Sun is an all-around beautiful card. So again, it is a strong blessing for positive changes and for releasing limitations and moving on to a more empowering state of affairs. I have to say that I've seen these combinations before when someone decides to no longer work and they just work for themselves. And because the fish was central in your first portrait and in a number of other combinations, it's very possible that you decide that you're not going to be employed anymore and that you're going to start working for yourself. If that's something you're contemplating, the cards are really supportive. Otherwise, you are looking at doing things a little bit differently. It can be a job change, but I'm thinking a bit more than that. I'm thinking maybe adding a source of income, maybe working additional work part-time, doing your business on the side along with your job, doing things a little bit differently than you have before, and of course taking control of your money as they are. It might also be real estate, or maybe you're looking at some kind of investment in addition to your work. It's a good time to focus on the different ways that you can make money. And it's not just work related. It can be enterprising, it can be part-time work, it can be investments. There's a number of things that you can do. But as you make changes, I think there's going to be some fallout with some people, and I don't really see a way around that. So prepare for a bit of bumpiness when it comes to that, especially people. The bumpiness is with people. The positive stuff is with your material and your work and your practical side of things. So some exciting things happening for you on the job and money front, mainly the money front. See if you're ready to kick off your business. I certainly encourage you to do that. Very best of luck with that. I'm looking forward to your comments as always. And please like, share, and subscribe so that more people are exposed to this amazing Lenormand deck. As always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Feather Group, let's get into your reading and see what is ahead for you with work, money, and career. We're starting with the Game of Hope, and I am doing the portrait spread. So we're going to have 3 of these laid on top of each other. Okay, these are some powerful cards. There is the whip right in the middle of your first portrait. This is a challenging spread, but what's really nice to see is the star. The star is one of the most positive cards of the deck, in the same way that the whip is one of the most challenging cards of the deck. But what's special about the star is that it's a card of healing. And we have the dog in the first diagonal, so I feel that this could be an argument or a challenge that comes up with someone in the work environment, on the job, maybe a colleague, maybe a customer. In the first diagonal, we see this very clearly. There is the clouds, whip, along with the dog. The dog normally represents a friend. In the context of work, it points to a colleague, sometimes it's sibling. The idea is someone in your peer group. The clouds is a card of stress and confusion, and the whip is clearly a challenge. And so together there is something that is blown out of the water. I think things that were unsaid now come out, and I think they bring an argument. They bring some kind of a challenge between you and someone else. The ship, whip, and star, though, is clearly a boat that is rocked because of the whip, but the star is a healing card. So I think that this argument, difference, or challenge that comes up is actually a pathway to healing and for better understanding. The cloud, scythe, and star is actually, this is a combination that I like to see, because the clouds, being a card of confusion, is helped by the sharpness of the scythe. So the scythe is a card that helps you see through the confusion, cut through the issues, and achieve more clarity. And certainly the star, being a card of light and healing, you will be able to break through and have better understanding. The letter, whip, and rider is a challenging message. This is news or information or some kind of exchange that happens, and it is a tough one, and it does line up with what we saw earlier in the first diagonal. And then the ship, cross, and dog points to some decisions that you're going to make with regards to this person. It is possible that this person leaves, actually. There are many reasons we can read it this way. The scythe and rider, now the ship, they are cutting away cards, and they are movement cards. So it's possible that this person moves away. But I think I think the argument aspect is more likely, but it's still possible for some of you. And I say that because the star, rider, and dog points to better times ahead, a sense of healing, and also wish fulfillment and achievement. So I think that the issues that we see earlier are resolved in this column very clearly. Earlier, we have the clouds, letter, and ship. This is another possibility that points to the possibility of leaving. The clouds really asks you to think about what you want to communicate. It's important that you try to clarify your thoughts and your intentions, and then you'll be able to clarify and communicate what they're about. But it's also possible that you're going somewhere, that you are leaving, that you are parting. That too is a possibility. So maybe not just them, but you, and so as a result, some kind of parting. The scythe, whip, and cross is clearly a very challenging combination here. Actually, the scythe and whip is probably the most challenging combination of the whole deck. And with the cross, this can bring some pain and possibly some regret. So we're seeing a challenge that comes up very clearly for the feather group, and probably in the earlier phases of the path ahead, because this is the first portrait. But again, the star with the rider and dog, this does bring healing and clarity. So, you know, there's a number of possibilities here. I think that because this is the job and work context, it's possible that there are layoffs. It's possible that people are let go, because this would be a really challenging scenario. And these are really challenging cards, so it would match rather well. And the dog, it can represent employees. So there are, there are issues happening on the job. There are layoffs. There are changes. And, with the communication here, this can be the announcement that is made by, whoever, top management or the job in general. And yes, it can be a more personal issue between you and someone else. But in all cases, it sounds like you're able to move forward positively from this. Now, does it mean you stay, you leave, or what is happening? I think you end up moving on, but I think it's for the better. And when it comes to the personal issue with this person, I think you're able to resolve the differences and move forward. But this is a very turbulent time, what we're looking at, Feather Group, over the coming phase. So brace yourself for a bumpy ride here. Things are going to be purged out into the open. Layoffs are possible. Deep restructurings and changes are possible. And it can come with a bit of a heavy hand. I can't really sugarcoat this, with such a powerful line in the middle and the whip in the center of everything. Okay, so some turbulent news coming, possibly fallouts, but with a good prospect for recovery. So let's go on to your second portrait and see what else we get for you in this area. So this is Titania's fortune cards, and let's deal them out. Okay, great. This is really interesting. I got the man in all three readings. I don't know what is going on with this guy, but a man comes into each of the three pick-a-card readings. I'm happy with these cards. They are informative. They give us more specifics. So the anchor, I suspected that. The anchor is a card of strength. It keeps you in your position, and I felt from your first portrait that you could leave or you could be released, but I guess not. We have the rider figuring again. We have the ship figuring again. Yes, we have two ships, two riders, movement cards, changes, and we have the mountain. The mountain can represent a place abroad, and so I think you are in a position of strength. I think you could keep your position, but I also think there are good reasons to think that you are off to some exciting new adventure. The anchor, mountain, and man suggest someone who is based abroad. It's possible that you create some kind of security or a foothold in a different place with the help of this man. And the clover, mountain, and fish certainly encourages you to do that. This is great for money. So money is coming in. So yes, you are going to overcome the challenges of the first portrait. And in all cases, we had the beautiful star under the fish. Very nice message here. I love reading the three layers, but we'll get to it after the third portrait. So there could be this person here who helps you through, who creates an opportunity or who extends some kind of help. And you could be working through this in the face of the challenges. The mountain can also represent the online world. So now it's more and more common that people are working remotely and online. So maybe you have an opportunity to pursue something like that. The anchor, sun, and fish is great for money. It's like you land on both feet when it comes to money, and you can look forward to enhanced income, a good income. The fish is also great for business, so maybe you're looking at creating your own thing as well. The ship, mountain, and moon looks like an invitation to go somewhere, to explore options. Again, I feel it ties in with what we see in the two diagonals. And the clover, rider, and man is someone helpful, someone who comes with answers and support. I really see this as a wonderful opportunity opening up for you, job-wise, work-wise, with a project, with your business. It is looking really exciting. There are travel prospects, working online or online businesses are also on the table. The anchor, ship, and clover advises you to explore, so don't just be stuck with what you're doing, but try to expand your horizons. It's really going to bring rewards. And the sun, mountain, and rider is another suggestion for travel. Even if it's a shorter trip, you might want to go for it. It's also possible that you need to take a break, some kind of vacation, and that too is totally fine. And then the fish, moon, and man, well, that is an offer any way you look at it, because the moon is the card of offers and proposals and appreciation. And with the fish, this is about money. So clearly you have an opportunity here. The man can be a customer, he can be someone who hires you, he could be someone who helps you through. Really, it depends on your specifics who this man is. But again, I'm really amazed because in all three pick-a cards, we saw a man figuring in the cards. So I don't know what it is, maybe the current cycle or the current arrangement in the sky. I don't know what it is, but it's looking really good. Something else that jumps out to me in this portrait is the sun and moon in the diamond. These are great cards for a relationship. And, we are asking about work and money, but perhaps in the back of all this or through all this, you meet someone and it turns out to be, a relationship. That is possible. Maybe that's a reason why you are, changing things around. Maybe this affects your work, your career, or how you do things. That is possible. But overall, these are really exciting cards to see, especially after the turbulence that we saw in your first portrait. I have no doubts that you're in for more money, for an opportunity, and also adventures, possibly traveling and opening up a little bit the options that you might have. And I really think the financial element is strong. I'm happy to see it in your second portrait. Okay, so let's move on to the third portrait now. This is the Silhouettes deck, my own deck. This is all looking so exciting and lots of interesting and juicy details. Very interesting. I was just saying, so many juicy details. There's more coming through in this portrait. It is not just a confirmation of the previous ones. There's more layers, literally, with this one. So there is just the mouse that is a bit challenging, but the idea of a new beginning comes through with the child. We have the road again, and we have the rider. So did we get the rider 3 times? Yes, we have the rider 3 times, 1 in each level of the portraits. We have the child as well. We have the ship twice. Very interesting. I love reading the layers. I tend to do this before, but I'm gonna discipline myself and just read the third portrait. So clearly there is this new beginning coming in. We have the rider again along with the road. Beautiful cards here that tell us that there is a path that opens up. It's really just the mouse that's a bit challenging. The mouse is not very challenging, it's slightly challenging. And with movement cards, it tends to point to the little speed bumps that we hit as we move forward. The book is a really interesting card to find as your first card. It's all about knowledge and information. And with the mouse and rider, I think it's important that you cover off any gaps you might have. So it's important to find things out, dig into the information. When it comes to work and career, maybe it's about learning something. And so with the mouse and rider, you might want to slow down a little bit until you can catch up on your knowledge and maybe polish up your profile. The anchor, mouse, and ring. This is nice. This is an issue that comes up in a relationship, but because of the anchor, I think you are going to be able to resolve this. And this really mirrors what we saw in the first portrait. So if you recall, we had the issue with the dog here in the diagonal, and then in this column, we saw the resolution. So again, I think this is very supportive for relationships, colleagues. You're able to save the relationship and you're able to maintain it. So it might take a bit of work. It might take a bit of trying to get the person to stick around. And I'm thinking, especially if it's a customer, you want to make sure that they're happy and you want to get them to stay with you, so you might have to put in the effort to do that. But I do think the relationship is saved. And we see this clearly here, the ring, flowers, and rider. Now, this is a really good mirror of the first level portrait cards where we have the relationship through the dog, and we have it in the ring here, and actually in the second portrait we have it through the man. So this is a relationship column. We have the flowers, which is all around wish fulfillment, and in the second portrait we have the moon and fish, which are very supportive. So it's very clear that the relationship aspect is coming strongly for you at this time, Feather Group, and it's going to be important for you, for your work, for your success. Someone really comes in or sticks around to support you with your work. The book, Bear and Ring, can point to an important new relationship. I say new because the book is the card of the unknown, and the bear is all around important. So you could make some pretty important connections here. The child, mouse, and flowers is wonderful for recovering your energy. It is a wonderful new beginning. Again, the mouse can cause a bit of issues, a bit of challenging steps as you kick off, but certainly the flowers makes this makes it easier for you to overcome, and you recover, any of the challenges that the mouse brought. And the mouse doesn't bring big challenges unless you leave them to grow out of control. Otherwise, the mouse remains small. The anchor, Road and rider, again, I'm seeing this idea of picking up and going somewhere. This is a bit like what we saw here. The anchor before the ship, same idea. There is this idea that you pick up and go, you pick up and leave. So there is a strong movement and relationship aspect that is coming strongly for you. The book Child and Anchor is a wonderful new beginning. The Bear, Mouse, and Road, again, you're gonna face up to some issues here. You've got everything it takes to overcome them. Just, maintain your sense of strength. And like we saw, the Ring, Flowers, and Rider is a wonderful relationship that comes through or that sticks around to support you. So there are two clear themes that come on top of this work and money context that we're reading about. And that is the relationship aspect. This is very important. And also the travel and movement and the changes in this regard are also strongly figuring in your portraits. We have the ship a couple of times. Here in the first and second portrait, we have, I believe, the road as well. Let me double check. Or was it the rider? It was the rider. The rider we have twice in the first and third portrait, and we have the mountain in the central position in the second portrait, as well as a road. We do have the rider 3 times. Oh, look, it is 3 times. There's one here, and one here. All right. Yes, that's what I thought. The rider 3 times. The rider is great for goals, by the way. It is an excellent card for achieving goals. So there's a lot of energy that is coming to you. You have a sense of adventure. And you know what's amazing is that it comes after a really tough time, this tough time that we saw in the first portrait. And I'm amazed at how willing you are to flow and to move ahead with this. And it's like your faith is really in the right place. Thanks to the star. So you're able to overcome these challenges and you move into a wonderful new opportunity. So the way I would put this together for you, Feather Group, is that there is a major challenge that you're about to experience on the job. This can be a purge, layoffs, restructurings. You could be on the brink of losing a customer, but you are open to opportunity that comes through this, and it does come through. There is someone who comes into the picture to support you with a wonderful offer and basically almost saves the day. And this opens up an opportunity to go somewhere, to experience broader horizons. It could be physical, it could be non-physical, it could be about your work in general. And you are able to overcome these issues. This does open up a new opportunity, and I really think you're going to take it up. Do your part to polish up on your knowledge, to learn the skills that you need to learn. But to say that you're not in for opportunity, you absolutely are in for opportunity, and it is one with a strong financial element. The fish only shows up once, so maybe it's not the strongest aspect, but the idea of you putting yourself on the path towards your goals is the strongest aspect, probably because of the rider figuring 3 times. So let's read those triplets. We've got the clouds, anchor, and book. Good. So the anchor and book is about having the right information, and with the clouds, we see confusion here. So it's very important that you clarify what you want and clarify what you know. If this is about information, you have to make sure you've got the right information. So be sure you do your homework, and also be clear about what you want out of your work. What are your goals? The Scythe, Sun, and Bear. This is a wonderful breakthrough. So just early on, we see that on the back of the challenges, there's going to be an opportunity. The Scythe and Sun is great for clarity. So very much resolving the issues, the initial confusion that we see here with a sense of sharpness and light and understanding. So very beautiful cards, and I think these are going to be really empowering for you as well. Look at this. This is great. The Star, Fish, and Ring. This is lovely for a new contract, a customer, a source of income. This is really good for your money. The Fish and Star is a very powerful combination. So you can look forward to prosperity and a new source of income, or your current sources of income that become more abundant. That too is possible. The Letter, Ship, and Child. Here we go. This is an invitation to pursue something new. And this is the opportunity that we saw comes through. So confirmed through the triplet here. The Whip, Mountain, and Mouse. Now this is interesting. This is probably the most challenging triplet of your portraits. And the Whip and Mountain can bring some serious obstacles, and the Mouse can also bring the similar idea of an obstacle, but the Whip is much stronger. It's going to be really important that you break through limitations. You're going to have to be strong and stubborn, and you're going to have to want to really break through this. If you're willing to do this work, then everything around it can manifest. Notice that these are central cards. So again, the challenges cannot be underestimated for you, Feather Group. This is a tough phase. I'm not saying it doesn't come with rewards, but it's going to require some energy on your part to break through and to be willing to overcome the present challenges. So be ready for this and keep your focus and your mind on the goal, because it is going to be overcome. The Rider, Moon, and Flowers. This is another offer, or another indication of an offer, just like these guys here and this one. And the Moon is a card of offer, with the Rider, which is a messenger, very clear. The Flowers is lovely. The flowers and moon can mean compliments and nice things that are said about you. It's also good for relationships and attraction. Although this is not really our theme, it's still supportive, in terms of your work. People appreciate you, and you are going to have an opportunity to work at something you love and enjoy and do well in it. The Ship, Clover, and Anchor. So the Ship and Anchor tend to be opposing energies, but again, we saw this before. We saw the idea that you are moving and changing. So there are changes. There's no way around this from these cards. There is this big restructuring that is happening with the first portrait, but the Clover and Anchor helps you land on both feet. So if you're thrown out of a certain situation, have faith you're going to land in a better one. The Cross, Rider, and Road. This is nice. This is a deeper message here, asking you to reevaluate your goals and objectives, get a good sense of where you're heading. A bit like what we saw with the first set here at the top. It's important to know what you want. And what we see from here is that you will know what you want. You will gain clarity. We saw this with this triplet here, and we have the Rider 3 times, which is the card of objectives. So this too is an important theme for you. What do you want next out of your career? You need to clarify this. And finally, we have the Dog, Man, and Rider. This is excellent for a relationship. All 3 cards support a relationship. So again, we can't undermine the importance of a relationship in what is ahead for you in your work and career. So honestly, Feather Group, I think you get a reading with the most going on. Lots of things are happening across the different areas of your life, with the work front, the money front, the changes, the travel, the relationships. It's all on the table, and the challenges. So you get the heaviest challenges of all the readings I've done. But it's not that you don't overcome them. You have some of the brightest cards and you land on both feet, but you have to expect that this is going to be a pretty tough transition. You're going to wrestle your way through this, but you do land in a really good situation, and you do have support, and you do have abundance coming your way. But there is a tough phase. People are going to be let go, or you're going to move, or you're going to change, and you're going to disagree with someone, fight with someone. All of this is possible, but keep moving forward as best as you can. Try to get out of your mindset. It's really important that you explore and be open and be willing to let go and try to flow as you face up to these challenges, and be open to a very supportive relationship that is part of your abundance here. So some really powerful cards for you, Feather Group. I'm really looking forward to your comments. Leave me a couple. And please like, share, and subscribe so that other people are exposed to this amazing way of reading and doing cards. And as always, until next time, thank you so much for watching and take very good care of yourself.